eighth principle, this is my favorite, understanding probability and statistics behind diagnostic testing. Now let's understand this with a small mathematical example, and I'll ask this question to you. So let's read the question. A 50-year-old woman with no symptoms, she goes for a routine mammography screening and she tests positive for the result. And she wants to know from you as a statistician, what are her chances of having a breast cancer after she turned positive from the test, right? So the additional information which we have is the probability that a woman will have a breast cancer is 1%. If a woman has breast cancer, the probability that she gets positive is 90%, which is we call sensitivity in medical terms. If a woman doesn't have a breast cancer and she still turns positive or test positive is 9%, which is called a false alarm rate or a specificity. Now, what is the probability that a woman have cancer? Any guesses? Okay, so most of the audience or most of the people confuse it and they arrive at an answer 90%, 9 in 10, because the sensitivity of a test is 90%, which is wrong. Now, the fact that 90% of women with breast cancer get a positive result doesn't mean that 90% of women with positive results have breast cancer, right? The probability of having breast cancer given a positive result is equal to probability of a positive result given the patient has cancer multiplied by the probability of having breast cancer divided by the probability of a positive result. Confused? Let's understand this with this small graphical depiction. Suppose there are 1,000 women, right? And as per the data, 1% can have cancer, will have cancer. So 10 women has cancer, 990 don't have cancer. Now the test sensitivity is 90%. So out of 10, 9 will test positive, 1 will test negative. And out of 990, since the specificity is 9%, 89 will test positive, 901 will test negative. So if I need to arrive at the probability of this woman having a breast cancer, even if she turns positive, is actually 9, which is 9 test positive, divided by 9 plus 89. So 9 by 98, close to 10%. And people confuse it with 90%. Now, let's understand this with diagnostic test. So Bayesian probability explains what the diagnostic test really means. So here I have given examples to scare you, but the correct way to evaluate a diagnostic test requires thinking in terms of Bayesian probability. So put it simply, we'll not go into the formulas. Bayesian probability involves having a prior probability and then using a new information to update it, right? If we take an example of a diagnostic testing here, the prior probability is doctor's belief about whether the patient is infected or not, right? And the test result is used as an information and it changes the doctor's belief. It can either change or it cannot change the doctor's belief. So that's how we calculate the Bayesian probability, and that's how we apply it in the diagnostic testing. Again, we have shown here the formulas in terms of sensitivity and specificity. Let's take an example from the COVID-19. Now consider a scenario: you have a cough and fever, and there is a chance that you have caught COVID. You don't know what that probability is, but you don't want to take chances, so you seek advice from your doctor. So if you are infected and diagnosed with COVID, they will quarantine you. If you are not infected but still diagnosed with COVID, they will wrongly quarantine you, which is okay. We can spend a small amount of resources to keep the other public safe. If you are infected but not diagnosed with COVID, they will wrongly release you and it can cause you to spread the virus. Now, this scenario is the most dangerous one. We'll talk about more on it. Fourth is you're not infected, not diagnosed, rightly release you and save some resources, which is good. And now above that, suppose there is a company who makes the test kits and it comes up with the information that their tests are 90% accurate. Now this can lead to an incorrect interpretation. Firstly, 90% accurate doesn't mean doesn't talk about specificity and sensitivity separately. So we need to understand both of them separately. And secondly, 90% accurate test doesn't mean that a positive test result means that you are 90% infected, and a negative test results mean you are 90% not infected. The reason, Bayesian probability. We don't have data on doctor's belief, right? And let's try to understand it by these two graphs. So while I'm talking about doctor's belief, a doctor's belief in this case, it kept on changing. So initially they were only testing the patients who had some symptoms or who had visited Wuhan or hadn't come in contact with people in Wuhan or South Korea, but then it kept on changing, the doctor's belief. The symptoms get on changing. And doctor belief, I would say in this case, most likely would not be more than 50%. That also I'm taking on a positive number. So if we understand this graph, on an x-axis, I have plotted prior probability of infection, which is a doctor's belief when you go to a doctor, right? And on a y-axis, I have plotted posterior probability of infection, which means whether you are infected or not after the test. And the blue graph here indicates positive result. The negative result is indicated by a yellow chart. Let's ignore the no test, which is the green chart, and assume this test is reliable with 98% sensitivity and specificity. This is an ideal case if your test is 98% accurate. And let's assume doctor's belief is 50%, which is the black dotted line. So if your test results positive and the doctor's belief is 50%, let's see the intersection of these 2 points. So there are 99% cases you are infected and you will be quarantined, which is a good information. And suppose you are tested negative, doctor's belief is 50%. Let's look at this intersection. There are only 2% or 3% chances of error. With this information, I can still release you if you are not tested positive. This is an ideal scenario. Now let's understand the scenario of COVID with 50% doctors belief and the initial information, the initial test which we were doing, they were not sensitive at all. So the 40% sensitivity was there for the diagnostic test of COVID and 90% specificity. If we look at this graph and suppose the doctor's belief is 50% and you test positive for coronavirus, let's see the intersection. There are 80% chances you are infected. There are 20% chances you are falsely reported positive, which is also good. I mean, I can take this risk and I can quarantine you even if you are not infected. But see the reverse scenario. Suppose you are tested negative and the doctor's belief is only 50%. There is 40% chances you are still infected, but your test haven't turned positive. Now, with this such high probability of infection and given the virus is so contagious, releasing the patient will actually, there's a high risk of further spreading it. Now, how do we solve that? We all have seen the multiple tests being conducted by the medical facilities or the healthcare facilities. Now we know most of the countries in Singapore, India, they are either conducting 2 or 3 tests. Only after you turn negative for 2 or 3 tests, you would be released. But actually, if the test is only 40% sensitive and the doctor's belief is 50%, look at these numbers. We actually need to conduct 8 tests to release a patient if we want to be 95% sure that you are not infected. But we are not doing it because, of course, there's a lot of impact on the pressure on the healthcare services. We can't do 8 or 9 tests for each single patient. So we are releasing the patient after 2 or 3 tests, which means there is still 20% probability of the person who is released having an infection. So that's how dangerous the disease is, or that's how dangerous the condition was when it just started.